It's a part of that hometown recipe, Beaver County, and it's bringing, well, these incredible students to be able to do what they love to do from all over the world and to get a chance to be in that spotlight. They do a lot of great things throughout the year, but one of the things that has become their signature, and it's giving people an opportunity to witness this young star power from all over the tri-state and country, is the Nutcracker. And big day today, final weekend. They've got the two shows coming up. And Jennifer Verba, who I had a chance to meet for the first time, has been at Lincoln Park since it all began many, many years ago, almost 20 years, as a matter of fact. And they're getting ready for the curtain to come up today for the first of two this afternoon. So we're going to talk about the history of the Nutcracker, the history of Lincoln Park, the history of dance, and all sorts of good stuff, because that's what Lincoln Park is all about. So she joins me now at kdkradio.com. If you click on KDK Watch, you can see this interview stream live. But she's with me today on the radio very early in the morning in what is going to be a busy, busy day into the night at Lincoln Park on Midland Avenue in the best little town in America, Midland, Pennsylvania. Jennifer, Merry Christmas and welcome to KDKA.
Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's talk about your history in dance. And you alluded to this in the video that we did the other day that can be seen on their Facebook page, my YouTube channel. But you really are a product of Western Pennsylvania, are you not?
Yeah, I really am. I grew up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, where I danced at Newcastle Regional Ballet Company. Did the Nutcracker there from when I was 5 until I graduated high school at Newcastle High in 2000. Continued on my education at Cypress Rock University, went on to get my Master's of Education at Clarion University, and, part of Pennsylvania education for dance. I'm happy to be able to start and help with bringing a certification of dance to the state of Pennsylvania. So have been really involved in education, the youth arts. I've worked a lot at the Newcastle Playhouse as well, where getting the young artist to sing, dance, and act, and created a little group with a big friend of mine called Vaughn Hutzpath, the Mini Stars. And then Lincoln Park opened. And what a wonderful thing it was for these students to be able to have a school where they could go, not only get their academic education, but learn their craft and do something that they love to do in the school setting. I always say, like, in the brick and mortar school, it's wonderful, but you sit there and do your academics all day. And there's those kids who just need to get out of their seat and move and do an art or something that they love to do.
Well, the other thing, and I alluded to this the other day, sadly, because of financial restrictions to many brick and mortar schools, a lot of the arts are going away. And that really is shameful, because a lot of these young people have that ability and it's inside. It just needs to have a vehicle, if you will. And a lot of them are being stifled to where they don't get an opportunity to create and maybe turn it into a profession. But make no mistake about it. Every river community that I grew up with had that so-called school of dance, which is wonderful. And I took my young daughter to those places, but it was a pirouette or two, and it would be hours and a whole lot of money. And it would be kind of like, somebody who says they want to lose weight and exercise in the start of the new year. And then by the middle of January, that exercise bike becomes a clothes hanger. Okay. It isn't the real recipe. But what I've noticed about Lincoln Park, many of them have gone on to make it a profession, have gone on to teach it at all sorts of incredible levels after Lincoln Park. But these are athletes. These are young women, especially, and men who love dance to where it's really their life's work and they are committed to it. But the thing that I think the most important thing that you do, and you may or may not realize this, we talked about this, but they learn to accept rejection, that it doesn't always work out for them. So when they get out of Lincoln Park, whether they dance or not, one of the things that we all deal with in life is rejection. And because we live in an instant gratification society and young people are a little bit different today, I think a lot of it is because we don't teach them at an early age that it's not always going to be about you. I think they come out stronger human beings and they have a better chance to succeed in life because they know that if you don't get this one, you'll get another opportunity. And rejection, just as much as exception is, it's a part of life, right?
Absolutely. And we definitely teach that. We tell them, you're going to have 100 no's before you have one yes. And what's so wonderful about Lincoln Park they come to the charter school, and then they have the center, which offers all these opportunities to audition. So they don't get just one opportunity to audition for a show. They can audition 6 to 7 times for shows, let alone what's in the charter school that they can audition for, as well as we have our own like internal shows as well. So yes, we do help these students, set up for failure and keep working hard and know that it's not always them. It might be the job. They're looking for something special. They're looking for, a specific hair color or eye color, or height based on the other people in the cast. So, teaching them as well that it's not their fault necessarily that they didn't get the job, but what can they do and find that pathway for the job that's needed for them.
So I was looking at the website earlier today just to get a little feel of what it's all about and the flavor. And, I was looking at some still photos of the audition process for the Nutcracker. How strenuous is that? And is it not for the faint of heart? And how many actually get taken and how many get rejected? Because this really, let's face it, I'm going to give you all the bells and whistles that you need to know. And I'm sure there's a few tickets left. But if you've ever wanted to see it, you want to experience it, you've got to get there today, tonight, or tomorrow, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's a beautiful venue. It's an incredible little community, and you're definitely going to be entertained. So I'm going to do all of that in the next segment, but I just want to focus on these amazing, young, talented students. So tell me about the audition process for the legendary Nutcracker.
Yeah, so the audition process, we take students ages 6 to 18. And we have a little over 100 audition every year, and we take around anywhere between 45 and 50 students. So you're taking half. So you have a 50% chance to get cast in the show or, to get rejected. And, that's very hard for some of our students. And it's hard for me. It's not easy casting a show. The more I do it, the harder it gets because I want to give all of these students the opportunity to be on this wonderful stage and be able to perform. But at the same time, you have to create that cast that blends together, works well together, and is going to really perform this wonderful production.
This is the other thing that they get exclusively at Lincoln Park. It's just not the grandparents and mom and dad in the audience. It's people who want to be entertained, and they expect, even if you are a high school of age, meaning student at this performing arts school, I want a professional up there. I'm paying money. I'm in this beautiful theater. I'm wearing my nice clothes. It's the holidays. I want a picture postcard. So you've got to deliver, right?
Oh, absolutely. I tell the kids all the time. I said, just your family's not out there. You have people who have no idea who you are. They want to sit back, have a relaxing evening, enjoy this wonderful performance, so get out on that stage and have a blast. So 100%.
Do you ever think about Nureyev and Baryshnikov and those who really took it to a soared to incredible heights of what they must have went through? And I'm just mentioning a few. There's so many. But what they must have gone through just to get to that point in their career and to be able to sustain it, and how many times they had to play or dance in pain. It's kind of staggering, isn't it?
Oh, it's very staggering. I think about that all the time, where they came from and helping to establish dance to what it is today and create these wonderful companies that have ballet and create the Nutcracker. George Balanchine creating the Nutcracker at the New York City Ballet, bringing it to the United States and things like that. Like, it's really a big deal that they really have developed such a wonderful art. I think about it all the time.
Listen, even the great Lynn Swan back during the dynasty of the Steelers in the 70s knew that ballet would pay off. But, East Liberty had a young man by the name of Gene Kelly who went on to do incredible things in the musical era of the height of Hollywood. And I look at some of his old movies to this day and realize how athletic he was and how there was so much ballet in what he did. So for anybody who thinks that, well, this is just for girls, forget it, because I have seen incredible young men do incredible things at doing it, and it really is something of incredible skill, and you have to be very athletic and dedicated. I don't even know if any professional athlete is as dedicated as someone who dances ballet. Fair statement?
Yeah, very fair statement.
All right, good stuff. We're going to come back. I'm going to tell you all about the Nutcracker, and I'm going to delve into my mind. It's kind of got like an Andy Warhol thing going when I look at it and think about it. and how this thing has affected me in one form or another year after year after year. And I just find it absolutely incredible what they do at Lincoln Park. And today, 2 shows, tomorrow another show, the final weekend, the Nutcracker. You're going to love it. Lincoln Park School of Performing Arts. Jennifer Verba is my guest. She is the choreographer behind this whole thing. We'll come back and tell you about what's happening this weekend in Midland in just a couple of moments. It's your Pratt Pack. Good morning. You know how I know it's the holidays when I'll say to someone, well, I'll stop over, and they'll go, oh, no, we've got tickets to Lincoln Park tonight because it's the Nutcracker. So tell the folks how they can become a part of this experience and make it a holiday tradition. Go ahead, please.
Yes, we have 2 more shows that are happening today, one at 2 o'clock and one at 7:30 p.m. And then we have one more on Sunday. Tickets are very limited for Sunday, but you can still get some at 2 o'clock p.m. And you can go to lincolnparkarts.org to get those tickets.
So let's talk about that Nutcracker. And not that I dazzled her with my information, because I'm more of a news guy and a sports guy, but I love the arts. And yeah, you will find me during Christmas watching a lot of Turner Classic Movies, black and white musicals, because it's just what I grew up on. And there were always those show tunes in the background, and we were always watching people do what they do at Lincoln Park. So 1892, this thing basically hits the Russian ballet for the first time. Doesn't get rave reviews, but what happens when the Russian Revolution comes to an end, these incredibly talented dancers end up in America and other places, and then they strike it up again, and the next thing you know, it becomes a holiday favorite. But it's the Mouse King, and when you think about it, it's delusional, it's grandeur, it's that thought process, it's your deep subconscious. But it's fascinating, even though I don't totally understand it. Why is it for the last 20, 25, 30 years of my life, whenever I see anybody promoting the Nutcracker, it just takes me there? What is so whimsical and magical about this?
I just think it's a shorter running ballet. So it's only like 40 minutes, Act 1, and 40 minutes, Act 2. So it keeps your attention the whole time. And I think that's a huge part of it. I also think that when we see the Nutcracker at Christmas time, when we go into the stores, we see Christmas trees. We also see nutcrackers. So nutcrackers are something that are in every store as well. Also, when you go into stores, you also hear the Nutcracker music. So I think all of that put together into a mixing pot makes people see the Nutcracker ballet happening and they want to go. Also, the saying, sugar plum fairies dance in your head.
Yes, yes.
It's that also, that little girl who wants to be a sugar plum fairy and grow up, like it's their dream, and so they go and I see these little girls in the audience and they just sit there in awe watching the sugar plum fairy and the other dancers as well. I mean, what joy they just bring to the audience is amazing. And these dancers are amazing. Year after year, I have such wonderful dancers, and other people who perform the Nutcracker have such wonderful dancers and actors and actresses who bring this show to life. And I just think as an audience member, you sit there in awe, and it happens so quickly that you don't have time to think or blink. And so I think that's just so cool.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, too. For those of us who are old enough to remember, and I have a friend who was a longtime member of the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, and his father was a carpenter for Kaufman's, and his job was a number of things, but during the holidays to animate the windows, where people would actually go downtown, Horns, Gimbels, Kaufman's, and wait till the curtain came up to see the animation and the moving parts. What people need to understand about Lincoln Park, these are incredibly talented set designers, carpenters. This is like the real deal. So talk about the people behind the scenes that make all of those things pop out when you're watching something like the Nutcracker.
Absolutely. Well, our current set, our party scene, was actually rented from a different company, but we just created a new snow scene. One had a wonderful painter come in. They worked so hard, our carpenters backstage, to do all of that. To get that ready, to make it perfect, come in, check and make sure that everything is exactly where it needs to be. We definitely couldn't do it without them. That's for sure. They really work hard and bring my vision to life too. I'm like, hey, I need this large white box for the Nutcracker to pop out of. And they figure out how to make that come to life and make it magical for the audience.
Jennifer Verba, choreographer at Lincoln Park, just a couple of more minutes. You have something equally exciting that's going to be happening in the spring in just a few short months, so please talk about that.
Yes, we have Tom Sawyer, the ballet that's coming up. It will run in February, the 20th through the 23rd. We have a live orchestra, which is amazing for our dancers and for the audience. So if you like just listening to classical music, the music is phenomenal. I highly recommend coming even just to listen to the music, as well as the dancers and the dancing and the storytelling of the show is going to be one to remember. So if you love the Nutcracker, if you enjoy watching dance on stage, you enjoy listening to an orchestra, then this is a show for you to come see as well.
So it took me back, and I still watch an hour of MTV every day. I mean, it brings me back to my old disc jockey days playing music. I still think you've got to be relevant, but I notice and pick up on little things. So many, many years ago, the Steelers decided to have a young woman perform the national anthem. It was about the time you started at Lincoln Park. And that young woman is from Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, who turned out to be Taylor Swift. And I was watching her at an old Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony amongst some of the biggest people in the industry, and they were jamming on stage. This young woman had such courage and put herself out there in front of these legends and was shoulder to shoulder and would not be denied. And I just thought, how proud, how determined. But in the profession that you are a part of, it is about pizzazz, and you have to believe in yourself, even though maybe others don't. I just think the whole experience and what it's doing for young women, especially, to give them the belief that they can do anything. Young men, the belief and courage they can do anything, no matter what they do with their career after, whether they become the next Taylor Swift or not. It's altering, it's life-changing. And one of the things that we see in society today, where a lot of young people struggle with many, many issues, I truly believe this puts them on the launching pad to do great things, not just in the working world, but in their own personal life, and it makes them much more solid citizens and human beings. Agree?
I totally agree.
Listen, I can't thank you enough. I know it's a long day. This was an early wake-up call. But do you ever say to yourself when you're walking the halls, I can't believe we have this much talent in this building?
Oh, all the time. Our kids are phenomenal. They bring such joy to myself every day as I teach them in class and do these shows with them. There's so much talent that walk the halls of Lincoln Park. And, if it's a place that you want to be, we have enrollment seminars that are coming up in January and February. You can visit the website at lppacs.org to become a part of the charter school, which leads you right to the back door to do wonderful shows like the Nutcracker at Lincoln Park Performing Arts Center.
I'll leave you with this. There are times after a long day, and I had a wake-up call at 2 a.m., didn't get back from a Rivers Casino engagement last night until 11 or so, that I will actually in the evening on a Saturday when I know you have a show, especially this time of year, because Midland is so charming and just such a great little community and has really come back in so many ways and continues to evolve, that I will get a cup of coffee and I will just drive down Midland Avenue and watch people crossing the street to come into that theater, and the snow's coming down and all of the Christmas lights. It really is a picture postcard. So know this. I know it's hard work for you, but you're bringing so much joy to so many people, including me. So thank you. Merry Christmas, and have a great couple of days with the Nutcracker, okay?
Thank you so much for having me, and Merry Christmas.
She is incredible. They are incredible. I am such a fan of that school. And as I was trying to convince my dear friend yesterday about her young daughter, who's an incredible dancer, you really need to look into Lincoln Park. It's fascinating. And, when that thing was first being talked about, I thought to myself, how is that going to work in a steel town that's lost its steel mill? But you know what? Just like those people who worked in that mill and went to work every day and put the sweat equity into it, these young students are going every day into that palatial building and putting in the sweat equity and doing everything to cultivate their craft. And if you go watch the Nutcracker, I promise, will have an experience you will never forget. And you're not going to see that kind of talent anywhere. They are absolutely a godsend, those incredibly talented young men and women at Lincoln Park. Nutcracker, 2 shows today and back for another one tomorrow. So get your tickets and start that holiday tradition. We got a couple of more segments of Open Talk. I hope you'll stay with us. It's your Pratt Pack today on KDKA 100.1 FM AM 1020.